those of you who were expecting to see Oral Roberts here tonight are going to be disappointed because we have rescheduled that show for the 19th of February. But if you stay up and watch the show, you will not be disappointed in the least because we have a crackerjack tonight, much the same as we had here last night. And I'll get to that and some reflections on it in a second. Waiting in the wings last night, we had a wonderful man whose name is Richard Mitchell, who is the English professor from Glassboro State Teachers College in Glassboro, New Jersey. He publishes a newspaper which is called the Underground Grammarian. And I know that many of you at first blush, and I will confess to this now after having met Professor Mitchell, would think that the least exciting thing to talk about would be the English language with a professor of same on television late at night. Well, hang on to your seats, gang, because when this man comes out here, which he will do in a couple of minutes, you are in for about 40 minutes of non-stop delight. We taped him late here last night, and so the whole thing I know by heart. It is unbelievable, and you are about to meet what I described as a diamond in the rough in the talk show business. Richard had to go back to New Jersey today, so he couldn't stay and be with us tonight, but he did stay with us late last night. He has had some television experience before, which will be evident to all of you when you see him. I can't build this show up enough to you because it is going to be absolutely sensational, and I'm going to sit here and watch it with you when we play the tape in a second. So that's my first guest tonight, is Professor Richard Mitchell. And he is from, as I say, Glassboro State Teachers College in Glassboro, New Jersey, where he publishes a newspaper called the Underground Grammarian. He didn't get on last night because things got a little out of hand here, but in the good sense, with Lee Rich, who is the president of Lorimar Productions, and Ben Stein, who is the author of The View from Sunset Boulevard, and parenthetically is a critic and writer for the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner. And for those of you who watched that show, there wasn't any place to go once they got going here. I've had two kinds of telegrams today, and I appreciate the good and the bad. The good said great. The bad were divided into two categories. Those who felt that I was on Lee Rich's side, and those who felt that I was on Ben Stein's side. I was on neither side, I can tell you that, except that I can assure you it is very easy to criticize this medium if you don't understand how it works. And most of the people who write about it, and I'm not including Mr. Stein in that just because I'm saying this, most of the people who write about it don't have the faintest notion of the pressures under which all of us operate here. There are money pressures, there are political pressures, there are rating pressures, and there are also the self-imposed pressures which are endemic to all of us. Things like, are we doing the right thing? Is this the way we're supposed to go? Should we really be doing this program on this night with this person? So, I mean, all that is jumbled up in the head. And when something doesn't work, or when something appears to be ill-timed or ill-prepared, actually there has been a great deal of preparation given to it, and its timing has been considered with great care, and it just dies. And there's nothing you can do about it. Now, also, for those who heard Lee Rich say last night, that the ratings, the Nielsen ratings of television programs are printed now on a weekly basis in major metropolitan newspapers in this country. And so that the ratings of our network shows in prime time, ours and those on CBS and ABC, those ratings are no secret any longer. And for those of you who live in smaller communities around the country, I now read from this morning's New York Times the 10 top-rated television programs of the last week on the three networks. The number one show was the motion picture Rocky on CBS with a rating of 36.9. Number two was Laverne and Shirley on ABC, 34.8. Number three was Happy Days, repeat, with a 33.6. Number four, Three's Company on ABC, 31.4. Number five, Mork and Mindy. Number six, Charlie's Angels. Number seven was 60 Minutes. Number eight was a 2-hour Love Boat on ABC. Number 9, 8 is Enough. Number 10, Making It. Number 11, Backstairs at the White House, NBC. Number 12, Taxi. Number 13, MASH. Number 14, Different Strokes. And number 15, Vegas. The ratings for the three television networks for the last week are ABC 21.3, CBS 21.1, NBC 17.6. This from the New York Times this morning. And as I say, for those of you who don't get this information in your newspapers, there it is, pure and simple. Now, a little bit later on this evening, we have with us Andy Tobias. Now, he is the financial columnist for Esquire magazine who was with us on one previous occasion to talk about his book called The Only Investment Guide You'll Ever Need. We last spoke with Andy in June of 1978, and he'll be back tonight to give us his financial scoop on 1974. Is it going to be as bad for our money as everyone keeps telling us it is? Do stand by now for Professor Richard Mitchell from the Glassboro State Teachers College in New Jersey, who will be with us right after these commercial announcements as the Tomorrow Show rolls from Burbank, California. That our kids, some of them, have been assigned to read Silas Marner right tonight, okay? What a guy he is. Tomorrow night we have with us Jeffrey Holder, the Broadway director and choreographer who gave us the Tony Award-winning The Wiz. We will not choreograph tomorrow night. He's going to cook Caribbean food. What is he making tomorrow night? Beef something?
I think rice and chicken or something.
If he's making rice and chicken, he's not coming in here tomorrow night. I've had 14 orders of rice and chicken on these cooking shows. I don't want any rice and I don't want any chicken. I want meat. And we have Diana Sarah Carey, who is known to the world as Baby Piggy. On Monday, we have Teddy White and Harrison Salisbury, two great journalists and commentators on world affairs. Now, last night we had Joe Kraft with these two. What happened to him?
Got to meet with the president.
With the president of what?
The president.
Oh, Mr. Carter. Carter. Oh. Joe Kraft, history. Tuesday, we have the meanest lawyer in New York, if not the world, Roy Cohn here. And on Wednesday, we have Bob Myers, a Washington Post reporter, who will talk about his book, Like Normal People, which describes the marriage of his retarded brother to a retarded woman, and they will also be with us on the show next Wednesday night. But again, tomorrow night, Jeffrey Holder and cooking with fine French wines. Beef, meat. Andy Tobias, the financial editor of Esquire magazine and author of The Only Investment Guide You'll Ever Need, is standing by right after these words from our NBC stations coast to coast. Mitchell, so that we all sounded fine. Now here's Andy Tobias, who is the financial editor of Esquire magazine, and I want you to tell this audience how we found you today.
Paged at the airport on the way to Seattle. I don't know how you found me. There is a hotel, which I guess had better remain nameless, but it is a very fine hotel out here, and they were called to say, don't let him check out. He's not supposed to go.
Like the Gestapo.
And I was in that hotel for an hour in their coffee shop with everybody trying to find me, and we finally did check out. I got out, I went to the airport, we were racing to make the plane. With all the help from that hotel, I mean, I could have been in Seattle, but I'm delighted that they got me at the gate.
I'm glad, too, because without you, pal, there's nothing.
You could play that tape again. That professor's fantastic.
Listen, did you have professors, excuse me, can they hear him all right? Because his mic is on the wrong side. It's nothing personal, Mike. It's okay.
I'm left-handed.
Yeah, it's all right, but you're right-voiced.
Yeah.
Professors like that when you were in school?
I had professors who were animated and terrific, and like that, one fellow I'll never forget, he taught Russian literature, he had a club foot, he would swing it with abandon as he made his points, and I still fell asleep. In lectures, if I had to be up at 9 or 10 in the morning, no matter how good the man was, and by and large they tend not to be nearly that good in terms of performers, I just couldn't get into it. Now, watching this tape, fantastic. Maybe it's because you can sprawl out, or maybe because you don't have to watch.
Could you fall asleep watching him in a classroom?
Not the first day, but after they've assigned Silas Marner, and he's talking about, because he doesn't always talk like this. This is
right.
This was the class right before exams, or the first class of the year. Those two classes everybody loved, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the ones in the middle about Silas Marner, or in my case, War and Peace or something, were hard to stay away from.
Oh, I had one on metaphysics, who kept trying to impress upon us the fact that when you ate ham and eggs, it became you. And we spent days on this little topic, and
I had one for philosophy, and thank God this is what they put on the final exam. I really was not prepared to pass this course, and the final exam question, unfortunately I went to a school where they didn't have true, false, or multiple choice, or where you had to actually learn anything, was how can you, really, I mean, good reputation, you didn't learn much.
Well, they didn't have to learn anything.
The final exam question was, how do you know you're not asleep right now and dreaming? Okay. Well,
I pinched myself.
Well, no, that's too short. But 30 minutes later, and a few blue books later, I had gotten a B+ or whatever. Never A's, but I passed.
How are we doing with The Only Investment Guide We'll Ever Need?
We have been real lucky with The Only Investment.
Have we been
the only one I'll ever need. 9 printings in hardcover. It's now Bantam was terribly generous, and they've been flying me around, and I get to go to Seattle, and it's fabulous.
Mm-hmm. Last time you were here, I think you cautioned us against gold. Did you catch the price of gold in London yesterday? $246.50.
Even today, $250. Okay, it's gone up some more. I don't remember where it was in June. It was lower, no question. But I'll tell you, have you caught the price of IBM lately?
No.
Or, I mean, some ridiculous stocks that I won't mention, but yeah, I'm sorry the price of gold has gone up because, among other things, it means that the world is continuing to fall apart, you know, and people are panicky. But I have all kinds of problems with gold. How much dividends did it pay you, you know, in the meantime since the last show? Because IBM pays dividends, and AT&T pays dividends, and every time my phone bill goes up, the only saving grace is that I know the dividend's going to go up. Gold goes up, and the last time gold was much in the headlines, it had gotten all the way up from $35 an ounce to about $190. And by then, it was really big news. And a lot of people started buying at 190, went down to 103.
Right.
I don't know where it's going. I suppose it could go to 300, 500, 10,000. I don't know. But I suspect, because now it is on everybody's mind, that maybe it'll go up some more, but it's going to come back down pretty dramatically. And the guys who were smart and bought it at 103 may not have had any scruples or whatever you think about buying gold, but they were smart and they bought it at 103. They're the ones who will be selling to the people who buy it wherever the top is. It's very tough for the average guy to try to outguess the gold market. And, you know, as a disaster hedge, it would be an awful lot better to have a solar water heater on your roof in case the power goes out, or to have $1,000 worth of non-perishables, which in fact is a terrific investment, because if you buy them by the case and on sale, not only do you beat inflation, you buy them at this year's sale price, but you can get $1,400 worth of goods by going out once every 6 months in a pickup and getting it. You're making 40% on that $1,000.
What is it, canned goods?
Tuna fish and soda and all that stuff. I take a lot of kidding.
I've been waiting 5.5 years to hear it, and I finally heard it.
You have a justification.
Tuna fish.
That's right.
Think tuna fish.
Think tuna fish. Think, think 6 packs of... My supermarket on 74th Street and Columbus Avenue back in New York, occasionally, I don't know why it does it, but it has every kind of soda in the world on sale for 99 cents a 6-pack instead of $1.79. And it's very interesting to watch the people as they go out. Almost everybody buys some. A few people buy 8 or 10 6-packs, and they're very embarrassed. And they're looking over their shoulders like, I hope nobody really sees this because I feel silly.
Yeah.
I bought 56 packs, all right? It'll last a year. But look what I've done. I beat inflation, as I say, for a year. And on each of those little 99-cent investments, which if they had been in the savings bank, I would have gotten 8%, but after taxes, 4%, after inflation, nothing, you know. On each of those 99-cent investments, I made 80 cents. I made 80% off what I would normally have paid, because sooner or later I was going to buy that stuff anyway. 80% tax-free return on that $50 worth of soda. You know, most families can't think about going out and buying gold, but they can tie up $1,000 in
but you see, that's too simple. We don't think about that. We all want to start McDonald's or Kentucky Fried Chicken or the Franklin Mint, which was good for... Oh, some people had a ball with that one,
I hope we can talk about that.
No, we're not going to talk, but a lot of people did well on that. Not any of us who bought
not the people who bought the...
Not the ones that bought the items, but the other people.
Sure.
But you're right, if you buy... I hate to bring up booze, but my supermarket has a thing once a year where you buy like 20% off on the case. Well, you ought to go in and buy a year's supply of cases, and bang, you're saving money.
I buy wine by the case, and we're talking again,
so do I.
$2.50 a bottle, except that you know, very 1979 or 1980 wine or whatever it is, even before it's out of the vineyard, and. They give me 10% off if I buy by the case. I wind up buying 4 cases over the course of the year. Each time, I save $3 on the 30, okay? By the end of the year, by keeping $30 tied up in wine instead of running out every 5 minutes and buying one, I have saved $12 on a $30 investment. That's 40%, and it's tax-free. If you do all your buying that way, you never run out.
But you see, that kind of saving, or investing, if you will, doesn't show on a ledger, passbook, checking account statement. It doesn't show anywhere, but it's money in your pocket.
It really, you know, that $1,000 can save you $400 a year if you keep it tied up in goods. If another thing people don't think about, but you want a 14% tax-free, risk-free investment, and it wouldn't really work for you because you itemize your tax deductions, so for you it would be a little bit lower.
Do I ever?
But do you ever? But for 75% of American taxpayers who take the standard deduction, this is absolutely true. Don't finance your car. If you can afford to, buy it outright, okay? Because here you are, most people will have a little extra money in the savings bank or in maybe long-term certificates, earning, they think, 5.5% or 8% interest. After taxes, it's not that much. It's 4% or 6%.
With inflation,
at the same time, well, with inflation, at the same time as they're paying 13 or 14% to a bank or to GMAC or somebody to finance the car. each of us is a little business. Now think of this. Here, what kind of little business is this? With your left hand, you're earning 5%. With your right hand, you're paying out 14%.
Dumb.
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 And on a $5,000 car, over a lifetime of buying cars, you're talking about $300 or $400 a year that is totally wasted.
Do you know where to buy a new car for $5,000?
In California, they don't have any cars smaller than, you know, the
Do you know how tough that is to find, by the way? A new
You're
car
right.
with goodies on for
You're right.
5 Gs? I don't think you can do that.
Right.
Let me try it another way. If you go and buy a new car for $5,000, at the end of 3 years, that $5,000 car is worth $1,000.
Right.
Which means that your money, your $5,000, is depreciating.
Right.
And we could figure the percentage if I were good at that. Maybe you can. Why should I let my money depreciate? Why shouldn't I let the bank's money depreciate?
No, here's the
Okay,
this is
all right.
it. And Mark,
All right.
and everybody has this false impression.
Because I've given this advice to people. Hey, why let your money depreciate? Why let your money
Great
sit out
advice,
the
Tom.
snow and the rain, let streetcars bump into it or whatever?
Well, I mean, you know, first of all, if with a home or something like that, that's great. You borrow now, pay back in cheaper dollars. First of all, you don't have to pay 14%. It's getting there, but you still don't have to pay that much. And at the end of 20 years, you've paid off the mortgage. The home hasn't disintegrated. It goes up in value. So it's fine to borrow for a home. With a car, it does fall apart, and you have to start all over again. It's a shame you have to pay $5,000 or $6,000 or $8,000 for the car, but why do you have to add all these financing charges as well? If your alternative, I mean, if you have a way, if you could take that money that you're borrowing, the $5,000, let's say, and you had a risk-free, tax-free return of 15%, okay, it's worth paying 14% so you can get 15%. But who has those opportunities? Most people will borrow at 14%, so that they can put the money in the savings bank. I mean, if they have, some people can't afford, they simply can't afford to buy the car. But if they have any money, they put it in the savings bank, they put it in bonds. Bonds don't yield 14% after tax. They put it, God knows where. Even the stock market, which I'm very high on, contrary to, I guess, you know, most of the things you hear. It's tough to beat a 14% tax-free return. And for many families, just the car and the shopping, buying life insurance smarter and all that, you're talking about maybe coming out $500 or $1,000 ahead each year of where you would have been otherwise.
Give me 30 seconds on tax-free municipal bonds.
Okay. If you want a risk-free or fairly risk-free investment, you can consider bonds. These days, I think the stock market is a better investment. But then you have a very simple calculation to make. Assuming you're talking about a city that's in good shape versus a corporation that's in good shape, do you want, let's say, 9% as an IOU from a corporation for 20 years, or do you want, let's say, 5.5% or 6% tax-free from a city that's in financially sound, okay? It's a very simple calculation to make. You have to know what your tax bracket is. Most people don't, but it takes a minute to know it, to figure it out. And you say, well, which one pays me more after tax? I'm not interested in which one pays me more before tax, but if I'm in the 50% tax bracket between you know, state taxes and federal income taxes, 9% from a corporate bond means 4.5% after taxes. 4.5% is less than 5.5%. You know, that's all.
Listen, the time is going too quickly. Thank you for coming here on short notice.
It's good to be here.
And remember that it's the only it's the only investment guide that you'll ever need, and it's the only investment guide that he'll ever need. Andy Tobias. We'll be right back after these words now from our NBC stations.